Hello and welcome to At Brookings. I'm Gigi Hinton. In our podcast this week, U.S. military forces in Iraq have withdrawn from cities and towns there as part of an agreement to eventually pull back all U.S. combat forces. Saban Center Acting Director Kenneth Pollack tells us more. And is the economy getting any better? Well, we'll hear more on that from Economic Studies Senior Fellow Gary Burtless. And the man on the street weighs in on the military drawbacks in Iraq. All that's next at Brookings.
This is At Brookings, a review of news and events for the week of June 29th, 2009.
This week marks the beginning of the end of U.S. military operations in Iraq as American soldiers withdrew from Iraq's cities. The withdrawal is part of an agreement to vastly reduce the level of combat troops in the country. Acting Saban Center Director and Senior Fellow Kenneth Pollack says Iraq still has difficult days ahead.
The Iraqi people, by and large, have wanted to be out from under occupation, foreign occupation, almost since the very beginning. They realized that there were a number of hurdles that they had to overcome, but they feel like now they're finally getting to the point where they can take on the responsibility for their own security, their own stability, their own basic services, and all of that is an important sign of progress to Iraqis. By the same token, there's also a lot of ambivalence, though, about this, because many Iraqis are also quite concerned that they're not quite ready to handle this on their own. In particular, there are a number of Iraqis from a whole variety of different communities who don't yet fully trust Iraq's own security services. People who may not have necessarily liked the foreign occupation, but who felt comfortable that the American presence at least was a source of stability and security that they could count on. And now that the United States is seen as slowly pulling back from that, there are a lot of Iraqis who are wondering if they're still going to enjoy the same kind of security and stability that they had grown accustomed to over the last couple of years.
What do I think about the American involvement in Iraq? I think that it was a huge waste and a burden for the American people and the Iraqi people.
We actually may be borrowing trouble by leaving.
I think it's good that we're able to scale down our involvement.
I think that it's due time that we finally pulled out and let the Iraqi people govern their own country.
There are some signs of progress in the nation's efforts to stabilize the economy, but Economic Studies Senior Fellow Gary Burtless says the progress is slow.
The economy has improved in the sense that it is declining more slowly now than it was at the end of last year and at the beginning of this year. Job losses in May were only about half as high as they were on average in the previous 6 months. The number of new claims for unemployment benefits, which is still running at a staggering rate of 600,000 every week, is, however, lower than it used to be at the beginning of the year, and that is a sign that the pace of layoffs is slowing down. But that doesn't mean that we can anticipate a lower unemployment rate anytime soon. It simply means that the rate at which companies are laying off their workers is a little bit lower than it was earlier in the year. Also, the loss of payroll jobs is not nearly as bad as it was in January.
At Brookings is produced by the Brookings Institution. To learn more about the issues discussed on At Brookings, visit our website at brookings.edu.